What's going on, YouTube world? Steve, Vinny, Dave, the triumvirate of the IRP. Not a solo endeavor, it's a three-pronged attack. When Robert Lewis crawls out of the catacombs, FKA his ceiling in the kitchen when he tumbles out of there. But tonight it'll be fun. We'll always sprinkle in our 2 cents, which can be construed as negative. That's fine. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got them. They're all dirty and whatnot. Glad you got the headphones on, Freddie. Very. Well, 1 minute in. We'll talk. No matter how polarizing the YouTube Hall of Fame thing is, from guys that Steve and I have been around with and predated us, no matter how much we think it's a stupid, silly competition, it's not needed. How many times I've said in the past it's a dick measuring contest. It's because of we didn't need that type of stuff when we were in our infancy, as we grew in our YouTube channel, as we made videos, as we grew in the community. We would go to blog, we'd form the friendships there. That would be the groundwork, or that would be the foundation. Other than YouTube, you'd show off the cards. Okay, GSN's over there, Truth's over there, Denny's over there. Somebody's breaking tonight. No matter who it was, you didn't, and a lot of the time you didn't step on each other's feet. So Saturday, Nick would be on. Friday or Saturday, again, it's been a while. So I think Denny had like a Wednesday or Thursday night, whatever coincided best with him and Susie able to break and to get the product. We didn't need votes. We didn't need people to tell us how great our channels were or are. We did a lot of that as we went along, just because it was the thing to do. Somebody sent you a just because package, not a care package, just because. That's what it's called. Just because I've got stuff, I don't need it, goes in your collection. It was promoting the community from within, and everybody was happy to do it because, again, you can make a video. Hey, I'm not getting anything in the mail. Let's say this week or 2 weeks, or like rent's coming up or mortgage payment and car payment, whatever it is. It's like, okay, we're gonna wean off for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Maybe somebody notices after a week, like, man, they're not making a video. Well, I'm gonna send them some stuff. I've got some stuff. I've been meaning to send it out, and I'd like to see them back on, make a video, because that, again, brightens my day to see them, A, know somebody's thinking of them, B, open that package, and I get to hear the excitement in their voice. That was what we did. It wasn't everybody's Barry Horowitz patting each other on the back. Yeah, that's the thing, Josh. It's completely you. If you know they're gonna immediately be sold, then guess what? More than likely, you're not gonna. Whatever you thought that relationship was, it's gonna fracture. And depending on how you are as a person, that's probably broken. It won't ever return to the point of what you thought it could be or what you hoped it would be. So we did that. We just hang out like here. More so, we have a topic here. Blog, we had just chatting. And then somebody would be like, hey, somebody's breaking, somebody's showing off cards. We're listening to music over there because blog didn't have copyright.
And drinking.
Little drinking. And wearing Rams hats and head bobbing and
humping snowmen.
Yeah.
I have no idea who the hell that was.
Steve.
Hence the reason why I never recorded anything on Blog TV. Ever.
It's probably good. I'm shocked nobody else recorded and then put it on YouTube. Because nobody ever did that on blog. Recorded something and put it on YouTube.
No, that never happened either. Dave, let me say one thing real quick. For the most part, we have always been in alignment with a lot of the YouTube Hall of Fame type aspect. We did it through interactions, through care packages, / just because. Yes, there were care packages still even then, but just because became like the mantra for a multitude of years. The hanging out on Blog TV, supporting, other channels, supporting like your smaller breakers, supporting your bigger breakers. It didn't really matter. But you grew your channel through those type of interactions. Because Blog TV is no longer around, yes, we have StreamYard, which has kind of, like taken the place of Blog TV. Personally, I think it's better than Blog TV ever fathomed. But StreamYard really came out of the pandemic, though.
Mm-hmm.
Other avenues and opportunities to, interact with people face to face. Texting and talking on the phone is great. Watching videos is great. But to sit there and have live conversations like this, it really takes you and I back, of course, to the blog days.
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, those who don't spend a lot of time on StreamYard or do a lot of shows and things along those lines, there are quite a few of them out there. I'm not saying that there aren't. There's actually quite a few, whether it be Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, it doesn't matter. There are a few options out there in the StreamYard world pertaining to individuals from YouTube. However, because the StreamYard world is still, in my opinion, fairly small, considering the scope of the YouTube card community and what it is now, I still think that as more and more people come into the community, I'm not going to speak on the negative side. People come in, people leave. It happens for whatever reason, personal reasons, monetary reasons, burn out, they get scammed, whatever those reasons could be. But as more and more people come in, I do have to say the more individuals get involved with casting ballots for the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame actually does bring some light to channels that may or may not get lost in the shuffle. We have always focused on tenure, longevity, as you were, as it pertains to who we vote for. So there are 2 channels that, got voted in to the 2022 class. Longevity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know one of them. I don't know if I've even stumbled across it to go subscribe yet, but 2 of the ones that I know for sure have been around for a while. And me personally, the more old school guys and gals for that matter, yes, we had a few in our day too.
Mm-hmm.
get recognition and get voted in, or even just recognized for that matter. It's not about them just getting in. It's about bringing recognition to those channels that, yes, they may not be making content anymore, but in our glory days, our early infancy of joining YouTube and being a part of it, really paved the way to what it has become. And personally, you have to remember the past in order to appreciate the future. Just my stance. We'll see. I wish I had access to the Google Sheet. Jake, I know probably won't watch this. I don't want to be the one to make a comment and be like, "Hey, I don't want to have to request access to the sheet." I don't think that's on purpose. I don't. It's one of those in which Google Sheets typically are somewhat protected, but it's a simple setting change. But I would really like to be able to see it, because that's a lot of ballots cast, a lot of channels that were nominated. What, 130 something he said? Which I think is pretty freaking cool, to say the least. 130 something unique channels. And knowing that most of my subscriber base no longer make videos, it's kind of nice to hopefully stumble across some new channels to be able to watch more content. We need more damn football people. Earth to the football people. We need more football people. Benny, your thoughts?
You might get a hockey guy.
Welcome to the 2022.
Sorry.
Welcome to the 2020.
I was trying to check the document and see if it was up yet, but I digress. But you may get a hockey guy that dabbles in football. So I like football. I bought 2 football cards so far this year. It's more than I could say I've done in the past since my EX set that I put together.
So, Josh, to answer your question, it's formerly the Ticket Leprechaun, now known as Legends Never Die. He took over as the commissioner for the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. So he's the one who was tabulating all the votes and capturing everything. And so voting ended at midnight yesterday. Now, Dave, keep me honest. Is that midnight Eastern time, midnight Central, midnight Pacific? I don't.
It depends where Jake's at. I think he's somewhere. I thought Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky.
So that would be midnight Eastern time then. But the fact that voting ended at midnight, whether it be Eastern, Central, Pacific, it doesn't matter. And obviously he was staying on top of it because the results were posted today, February 1st. So
he seems like a very analytical guy.
He does. He was on top of it.
Yeah, I give
providing some of the percentages, some of the details as far as the number of ballots cast, the number of channels or unique channels, percentages. I thought it was his presentation was well done. I mean, he thought about his notations throughout each individual. No, Dave did not get in. Dave midlife card crisis got in, but Dave did not. But I would like to see the sheet because my gut tells me that just for some videos that I watched outside of some of the other channels that I stumbled across, I think if 10 channels if he would have gone with 10 channels this year, Dave and Brad, I think, would have made the cut. May have been, 7, 8, 9 in that realm, but I think Dave and Brad would have got in. Just because, you had 30-something votes, 30-something votes, 30-something votes, high 20s, And then, as you would start going further down, I still think that there's a good possibility that both Dave and Brad would have made it in.
And I need no votes for that, Bobby. I get there from the heart and the soul.
Nobody technically won, but Diamond Yard Sports Cards was the top vote getter. Bart's Cards was number 2. Legends Never Die was 3. So the commissioner, got enough votes to get in. 4 was Dave's Midlife Card Crisis. And who was 5? New York Yankees fan. Yeah, New York Yankees. And then for the life of me, I can't remember who the Joe Ryan fan was, the Good Guy Award. Impact player. And then Ricky Russo for the Lifetime Achievement Award.
I think I would clarify that too.
Well, and I was going to make mention of something here. So Ricky Russo is already in. He was voted in as a content creator.
Yep.
Mike Baseball Collector, Dave's favorite person, is in the Hall of Fame. I know of one channel that voted for him as like the Longtime Achievement Award. And not that I have an issue with the same person getting in multiple times, but I think that kind of defeats the purpose. You know what I mean?
That's where I'm thinking. Here's what needs to be clarified. Those 2 awards, I don't think are actual votes to get into the Hall of Fame. I think they're supplemental votes, and people take them as votes to get in. Because you were voted as the Lifetime Achievement Award by...
Okay. I'm out. Shake your head if you're ready. Well, too bad you're coming in anyways. Talk about Hall of... What's going on, Chris? Talk about Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame worthy. Welcome. To hell you are. To hell you are.
Everything's back.
So for those... Damn, dude, you grew out the facial hair, man.
Well, yeah.
Looks good on you.
I'm getting old.
Looks good on you. Oh, well, aren't we all? Are you going for the Dave beard?
It's hard to compete with that facial hair up there.
So everybody else is going to start commenting. Foxy, Cole Hamels fan, Clint. So for those who are unaware, this is Sicktifer 2024. First time coming on the show. LA Pats likes you already because you got a Boston Red Sox hat on. So how you doing, man?
So I'm doing not too bad. I got to get this phone thing. Everything's backwards. I got to get used to that. It's weird. Not doing bad. Same old. Just working.
Such is life.
How you guys doing?
No complaints. So, Vinny, this is Chris. Chris, this is Vinny.
What's up, Chris?
I didn't know I was gonna. When Dave asked me, I didn't know I was gonna. It was like a Zoom call thing. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'll go on. Screw it. I don't care. Not my first time on camera.
Yeah. You've got experience, Chris. It's not the first time.
No, it's not. Although the backwards thing's screwing me up. Again, I'm gonna keep repeating it.
Flip the phone the other way. Maybe that'll help.
Nah, I don't care. So what's this all about? What are we doing?
Well, since our favorite competition just ended, and I made mention before. You didn't.
All right.
We tried. We were making mention like back in the day that we didn't have to have competitions like this. It's like we followed everybody through their videos. We followed everybody
No.
over the block. We hung out. And then from there, we knew people we could find through the chain of our friends. Hey, you sent Vintage a care package or just because a month ago. Give me his address. Like, okay. Boom.
Yeah.
And that's what we did to grow our friendship.
Dropped it.
To grow our relationships. We didn't need Hall
Yeah.
of Fames. We didn't need that stuff. And we're tonight just going through, hopefully going through some of the channels that didn't even get mentioned, that we know, sort of to bring some recognition to them. They don't need it. But when you hear people, I don't really know anybody past 3 years. I know a couple. It's like, well, no, then you're living under a fucking rock. I mean, YouTube just didn't start.
Yeah. Well, they just don't do the research. What it is it's changed so much. I watched a video the other day, and the guy said the word content 20 times 2 minutes into the video. None of us cared about content back then. It was, I want to see what my friend's up to, and maybe it'll be funny and entertaining. Maybe it'll be Big Fish standing around in his underwear in front of a Christmas tree acting like Harry Carey. Not how much is this card worth? You know, it wasn't about that. It was fun. It was about camaraderie and about just finding people that had the same interests as you. I mean, hell, these two guys here, Steve and Dave, I got them started. Remember? I introduced you guys to everybody. And, you know, it was about meeting new people. And I was always open to meet new people. I was on guard because there were some people that come in and, you know, just try to use you or whatever. I mean, I had one guy message me and said, hey, if I become your best friend, will you draw me a picture? You know, so you had people like that. But for the most part, it was a bunch of people that met other cool people, you know, and I'm friends with a lot of the people I've met too. So I hope that hurt.
You're getting a little choppy, Chris.
Am I? So no one heard any of that?
Well, you little. You heard enough.
Yeah, we heard enough.
All right.
That was the thing
I'm
that
new to this
a lot of
fangled stuff here.
Oh, believe me, I have enough of my problems, and we've been doing this for 76 episodes, so it's not like it's gotten any better. It's the same thing that day one to now. So we were always on guard too, because you'd come in like a house of fire. Somebody'd be like, "Oh man, I got this, I got this." They'd be sending out stuff. People'd send it to them and be like, "Okay, hold on. I get show and love, but my God, every day you're putting up some heat." It's like you ain't gonna last. I mean, I don't know what you do for a living, but at the same time, any of us, even in that 10, 12, 13, 14 years ago, you start spending that kind of money, you better have some side hustle, especially if you show a family. It's like, no, you're not going to be cases exquisite, all the absolute prime patches or the jumbo patches. You're not going to be putting those sets together within a week. Like, I'm on to the next thing. Oh, hold on. You got to slow down and sort of, you can't be a tree that's just planted and grow to a redwood size. You have to drop roots. And that's what a lot of people didn't do, and that's why they weren't around for more than 6 months or less. So,
and you could kind of see after time, you can kind of tell those people. You could kind of tell they were going to fizzle out fast.
Yep.
And so you take it with a grain of salt. And I've seen a lot of guys come and go. A lot of guys left, come back, left, come back, left, come back.
Oh yeah.
You know, but it is what it is. And if they came back, we normally welcomed them. If they didn't burn anybody, it's like whatever, you know. Like Marvin, for instance, I didn't talk to him for what 10 years, and he comes back and just like we never stopped talking. So
Starving Marvin.
it had its good, huh?
Which Marvin?
That Steve?
I was asking which Marvin.
Marvin.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
He gets really bad for me. Yeah, you're kind of lagging.
Okay, there's a delay.
You down in the basement?
Yeah.
Figured so.
Yeah. You want me to start over? No.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
I'm doing it from my phone, so that's probably why.
I know the plight all too well. I do it from my phone still too, and it's
I'm a terrible guest.
no. I'd be a terrible host then, or a co-host, because again, it's I know I'll start seeing. I know I'm slowing. Vinny and Steve will slow down. It sounds like a tape in a cassette player. That's like the batteries are just about dead. You're and then I start seeing like the black circles or circles going around in their screen. So I'm just like, huh, interesting. I'm sure whatever I'm saying, nobody can even understand. And so don't worry. Well, if you need to repeat something, we will gladly tell you and listen, because again, you still for us are a huge integral part of the community, even though the videos don't come out. The memories that have been made through you making videos in the past, and a lot of these other guys and gals, I don't say we hold on to it, but at the same time, it's stuff that we aren't going to forget at any point in time. So
he may not be able to see that, Dave, so you can ask him.
And he dropped. So this is for you, Chris. Who are some of the channels that you would have voted for if you'd submitted a ballot?
It's really choppy for me, guys. Thought about it, to be honest with you. Friday, just a lot of my old dish. God, I can't. Why can't I think of anybody? You guys.
Because I put you on the spot, Chris. That's why.
I'd have to go through my list. Guys that were really good guys. I'm 140 is one. Scott, of course. Let's see. I don't know, just all them guys from back then. There were a lot of them that aren't around anymore. Who was that guy from Hawaii? Lysol. He was really nice.
Lysol 15.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was.
that was 10, wasn't it?
There's when people say they couldn't find 10 10 channels to vote for, that always sort of amazes me. And that's where I'd want to get on my soapbox and be like, if you were voting, and again, this is so far below on the totem pole, it's below the lowest rung of the ladder. If you were voting for anything else for a Hall of Fame and you admitted that, like, oh, I don't know everyone, or I don't have the correct amount of knowledge, that should be an indicator that something in the as everybody that's newer likes to call it, the card community, the community, it's the YouTube community, how that portrays a person. Because when you have this,
I had a feeling we were going to lose him.
Yeah, he's messaging me now. No worries, Chris. At some point, well, we'll get you back on. Again, it's fun. Once the kinks sort of get ironed out, especially with the technological shit, it's always a crapshoot. Some nights people say I sound great, which is rare, but other times it's like I sound sort of that same choppy way. I know I do. But when people sit there and say, I don't know any channels, well, not like, and I hate using this term because I don't feel we are, but if we need to take that approach to doing so, we will, to inform, because nobody else out there is fucking taking the baton. So if we have to be the stewards of the community and, I don't want to say teach, but inform you guys, hey, there's a lot of old channels out there. I know I went through them. Steve went through them today on our subscriber list from years past, and I know he said, what'd you say, 70-ish? Somewhere in there you go?
No, I didn't go back and double check and make sure they still had videos. I did kind of think in my head. I had to scratch a few off because I know they pulled most of their old videos down, so there's not as much to watch. So it's one of those in which, like you and Ed, I know Ed feels the same way. Brad feels the same way. Joey feels the same way. Trying to promote some of the older channels that some of us, yes, are still making videos. Some more than others. I'm not one of those, but I still do make videos from time to time. But there are a lot of channels out there that have tons and tons of videos, which means that there is ample stuff for people to watch. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go back and start from the beginning, unlike somebody on this panel has done for a few of us and is still going through older videos. Yep, that guy. We technically could have voted for PDAS this year, by rule of thumb, because the keep in mind, Foxy, making videos for 3 years. That doesn't mean that they've had to make videos consistently for the past 3 years. They've only had to make videos for 3 years. So from that perspective, Foxy, you could actually have been nominated by rule of thumb. That is, if you still have your videos up. I haven't bothered to check, but you were of course one of the people on my list because like Dave said, we went through our subscriber lists just to reminisce and think of all the channels that were out there that made content. Yes, I'm using the term content, but made videos. I know you are, Foxy. I know you are.
I don't.
I don't believe that either, but I digress. But at the same time, Vinny being new kind of to the YouTube world hasn't started making videos yet. But as far as I'm concerned, yet I did say yet, he is just much a part of the IRP as everybody else. This has grown to be like a Tuesday family. When people aren't here, we start wondering, hey, are people okay? I know I reach out from time to time if I don't see somebody for a while, and it's because we do. We care. We give a shit, and we understand that you can't always be here every Tuesday. If you are here, we greatly appreciate it. If you're not, we want to make sure that everything is okay from that standpoint. But going through, I spent about half an hour today just going back through, and as I started coming across people, I started jotting down names. And, it's the fact that I came close to like 70-ish just in my subscription list. Granted, all of them no longer make videos for the most part, which is unfortunate. But like we've said, people come and go, and we get that. This was never expected to be a lifetime type thing. I took a break for a couple of years myself, but I never stopped kind of watching videos here and there. I just stopped making them. Not to mention I wasn't really picking up stuff. But, well, of course, YouTube wasn't a thing back in 2010 and 2014. But, that's, like you said, that's ignorance. And like Dave kind of said, not that we're trying to be the stewards or the spokespeople of the old guard channels, because there's only a few of us really still making videos. If it wasn't for any of us or any of those individuals, who's to say that YouTube would be what it is now? It could be. I'm not saying that it isn't or it wasn't, but you have to remember the past to appreciate the now and the future. That's just, that's almost like a life lesson too in itself. No, King of Steak is not. But Foxy, that's what we're getting at. And that's one of the main focal points that we wanted to bring to light. Sictifer was able to join us briefly. Internet connections always, or Wi-Fi connections always seem to be an issue sometimes. We would like to get Chris on again because, Dave and I both voted for Chris. And the reason for that is because Chris is the one who pushed us to start making videos. We had channels. We were very active on blog, but we didn't make videos. And, he kind of pushed us in order to start doing that. And, basically the rest is history. So we wanted to bring light to a lot of other older channels that still have video catalogs and video libraries out there, in hopes that maybe more people will watch this episode. Ed, you actually having your channel, maybe you can push some traffic. Mike O, if you watched it in the archive, push some traffic to this, because I really think it's like a travesty that some of these older channels aren't getting any recognition or any hobby love, as the title suggests for this episode. And if you go check them out, great. If you watch some of their videos, great. 99.9% of them aren't making any videos anymore, so you would be stuck to strictly watching the archives. But there is a ton of videos out there for some great people that were instrumental, and I could sit there and say pillars of the community. Very involved, very active, comments, joining contests, joining breaks, promoting channels through, just because packages, all sorts of things that were prevalent 10 years ago. So to give you an idea, Dave, I think you're a little bit before me, but I joined in April of 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so going on 12 years. And I know, Dave, you're right, just before me, I think. But the same year.
Joined February, and I think my first video was like May 7th, 2010, I think.
I can't remember when I made my first video. It sucked so bad that I don't ever bother to go back and watch them ever because they were horrendous. But, a lot of my first videos were absolutely horrendous. But, that comes with practice.
I mean, that's like trying exotic.
And at the time, we weren't putting ourselves out there. It wasn't like it is now where Zoom, StreamYard, Instagram Live, Facebook Live, go on Twitter, whatever, Twitch. Cameras weren't in your face all the time. Digital cameras were still expensive then. Yeah, you could have had a Crazer. Yeah, you could have had the sidekick. You could have had some of this stuff. Most people are still sort of rocking flip phones. And that gets lost in all of this because it isn't like, hey man, I'm just gonna take out my phone, walk down the street, and rant on some douchebag in Southern Texas. No, I'd have to set up the fucking camera. It'd look corny as hell and all this other shit. But again, everybody did it. Everybody had basically the same. You had a few people. Michael Sevens had a fancy intro. But then it was the quality of ours. It wasn't like, oh my god, it's 4K, whatever, ultra, super, LHD, QVC, whatever it is. It was basic video. And it wasn't an arms race. There were some people you knew more than others because, like Michael, he put himself out there more. Do a little more stupid stuff. But again, to offset all that stuff, that was some of the first, my indoctrination into the community was probably the year before at National with the Pistons fan, when we were watching videos, and I'm like, what the fuck is all this stuff? People are breaking cards on videos? Like, yeah. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? This is nonsense. And he's like, yeah, people are doing it. We got a decent sized community. I'm like, huh. And just never thought to go back to it. And then February, I'm like, you know what? Texting with him or whatever, and he's like, you should get on there and just do something. I'm like, I'll start a channel. I don't know what I'm going to call it. I'll start it up just to have it there. And then to see Michael, I mean, I'd watch some videos, I'd comment on like his stuff because I knew him. I personally knew Elon, or I still do. It's not like you don't personally unknow him or whatever. But seeing, I think Michael Sevens, who I think, like I've told the story before. I want to say it was his mom that like had a heart attack when she was driving, went off the road or whatever, crashed. Again, I have to go back and watch it. I've said that probably every time I've told the story too, and I never have. But that was one where I'm okay. It's not just about cards. I'm like, now I'm interested. Not to say death is like interesting, but it's like, okay, it's not just, hey, here's a card. Hey, invest. Hey, 5 cards that are going up this minute. Hey, I'm putting myself out there. I don't need to tell you what's going on in my personal life. He's choosing to do so as whatever mechanism, coping mechanism, to deal with it. Sometimes you just don't know where to turn. Sometimes your quote unquote real, like around you, physically around you, teams might not be as strong as this type of team, where you don't see people. You can talk to them. Call, now video calls or whatever. So that was the intriguing part, and I'm like, ah. So then I started like watching. I'm like, okay, who's commenting on this video? I think Chris was one of the first guys, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch his stuff. He's one of the first ones, and he actually wrote something there. So I go and watch his stuff. I'm like, fuck, this guy is basically like me, just picking up what he likes for his team, the Lions, and Barry Sanders, and some insert shit. I'm like, I thought I was the only one that liked all that stuff, because God, it's collected for 15, 18 years by that time, and it's not like at card shows people like, I want a Donruss Elite insert card, unless it's like the autograph Ripken, or the Nolan Ryan, or the Ricky Henderson, or the Sandberg auto. So it's like, okay, there's people out there like me that collect. Like, that's cool. And then it's like, you start looking like, okay, there's Dan 1013, Scoff 2244, there's Adam J. Aiello, P-Daz, Phenom Dave, Foxy, JBB, Techno Bailey. And I mean, you see all these comments and you're like, just, it's the rabbit hole that never ends, because there's so many comments, so many people, and then you're like, Blog TV at whatever time. I'm like, what the fuck is Blog TV? I'm just dipping my toes into this YouTube bullshit. What the fuck is Blog? And you go, it's like, okay, this guy's gonna be here tonight at whatever, 7 o'clock. Yeah, Trudy. Rob Med 9. And then I'm like, okay, I'll go
Tyson
check out.
NZ.
Yeah. Get amongst it. And I'm like, okay, I'll check all these guys out. What, again, I'm reading their shit here, I'm watching, it's like, okay, I'll go over there and see what's going on, see what they're like. Whatever it is on Blog TV, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking for, but, and go there, and it was just like hanging out. It's like you're sitting around, I won't say a campfire, but just like a big table and bullshitting. So you had one guy to bullshit, but then let's say you comment on somebody's video. I'd comment, and and then the little box would pop up, the red box. Somebody's messaging them. Okay, it's Chris. Well, hey, what's up? And whatever was said, and I'm not going to pretend I remember 12 years ago. Fuck, 12 minutes ago, I don't remember. But it's like you nudge them. It's like, hey, it's not that hard to make a video. If you got a camera or whatever, and you have like a computer, access to a computer, and then you have like a little cord to upload the video onto the computer, and then you can just do it from there. Like, I don't know. I got a ton of shit, but it's like, I've said the first video, I just took the phone and just like held stuff, just took it off the table, showed it, and that was it. And I'm like, that I can't do that because I'm not saying anything. And so I think it was about 2-3 days later, I finally said, I have to, if I'm gonna be commenting, watching this, going over on Blog, not to say, oh, I gotta start a brand. It's just like, you wanna, if everybody's jumping into the pool doing a cannonball, it's like, and again, if the pool's filled with water and it's not piss or it's not fucking scorpion infested or whatever, like, whatever, I'll do it too. Why not? The water seems warm. It's a bunch of people in there. And that's all you needed back then. It wasn't, nobody was like, I wonder how many fucking idiots I can like rip off with fake info and all this advice that I have no idea about cards, but if I put together a well edited video, these dumbasses are too stupid to tie Velcro shoelaces, so fuck, I know they'll give me money.
Well, and Ed brought up True 17. You brought up, like the breaking aspect. Nowadays, it seems as though the only way you're known with the breaker is the amount of money that you spend.
Mm-hmm.
in the early years, you joined breaks, and people knew who you were. It's not like you were some random dude that spent a lot of money. It didn't matter how much money you spent. Wrong button, Dave. Or maybe it was the right button. I don't know. But you could go hang out with GSN Cards Nick in his, mixer breaks, and you knew everybody in there. And you hung out for a couple hours. It was a baseball and a football mixer, and you shot the shit. You didn't have to join. You could just sit there and hang. But everybody knew who you were. They may not know your name, because I've said it many, many times. I'm not the best with names. It takes me forever to remember people's first names. That's just me. It's the same way in my work. It's just one of those things. But you could go and hang, have conversations with the breaker, and it was just all in good fun. You could do the same thing in True 17's room. Truth was one of the biggest breakers of our time, and I'm the only one on camera. This is really weird. But yet going in there, and Blog had limitations. You could only have 100 people in the room at a time, and then you got stuck in the waiting room. And it wasn't uncommon for Truth to have 100 people watching his breaks, depending on what it was. But the cool thing about it is for those people who were in there just kind of hanging out, it wasn't uncommon for them to sit there and be like, hey, guys, there are people in the waiting room that are actually part of this break. Any chance you can drop out and let these people in, to where you could actually get into the room and interact as part of the break. In the waiting room, you could still see what was going on. You just couldn't see the chat, the main chat. You could chat in the waiting room and things along those lines, but you couldn't see what was going on in the main waiting room. Tyson NZ, same thing. You knew almost everybody who was in there. Didn't matter if it was Bubba Pax, his Pax, he was doing a break. It didn't matter. And I know you can do it here, and at some point, in the event that we need to hand out some moderators, we can do that. Blog TV, you had the opportunity to hand out moderators. So in the event that people were coming in doing stupid crap, you could sit here and focus on what you were doing, and the moderators would take care of the band hammer and the blocks. So you didn't have to worry about it. It would be cool for, the IRP to continue to grow and get to that point to where that maybe becomes a thing. But, sitting there joining all these breaks, Den 1013, he did his, his mixers, Try 5 Tie, Ops, there you go. Tighter than 555, Army ATC 22. I was just trying to think of some of these other guys that, did breaks from time to time. But you still had your DePaul 99 was a breaker. He had some controversy. We talked about him last week, but you could still go hang out in a room with the breaker. And yes, 100 people watching a break was huge in those days. Now, because of all the additional social media platforms, you've got thousands of people watching breaks.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if those individuals would have continued and stayed around with it, Firehand Cards is still around. Last I checked, I don't know if he breaks as frequent as what he used to. But it's not just Chad who does the breaks; it's other people too. I think he has one other person. A Bum in a Suit also did breaks.
Good old Jim.
So he's on my list that I wrote down. Like I said, I don't know if he still has videos. I didn't bother to go vet some of these, but there's so many people. BT BT was one hell of a guy. Talk about not a care in the world. Just so laid back, always high tempo. And we'll get into more of these names as we kind As we kind of go out throughout the show,
Rudy Gay punch.
everybody used to refer to BT as short round from Indiana Jones. But you know, everybody in the community in those days supported one another in some shape, form, or fashion. Breaks, mystery packs, custom breaks, just because packages. Yes, care packages were still a thing then, but you know, the whole concept of it just because is literally to send something just because you wanted to. But everybody tried to support one another in some way, shape, form, or fashion. It was always a give and take. That gentle handshake amongst two individuals or 3, 4, or 5 individuals, and it just kind of grew. It was all. It's different. It's different now than what it was then. Not saying that now was bad. It's just different, and the fact that so many of these older channels that still have content out there, and I'm going back to what you said earlier, Dave, and even what Ed said, you know, it's a travesty that there are so many people out there who made ballots who said that they couldn't think of 10 channels to nominate. Some of them did it by choice, which is fine. But for those who couldn't come up with 10 channels because they didn't meet the qualifications, I'll use the word that was put out there earlier. It's a travesty. It really is, because there are still such a ton of great channels that are out there that, although they're not active, doesn't mean that they're not deserving of any sort of recognition. So, soapbox, retract. Sorry, Benny, I had to take your line. But you were unmuted. You had something that you were wanting to say, obviously.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you had unmuted yourself, so usually that's like raising your hand. Not that you ever have to do that. Not that you ever have to do that.
I'm used to being like the 7th, bottom, and not getting called on. That happened.
You won't have to worry about that anymore.
No, we're good. We're good.
Lapdog for others. What? Money tree?
Squirrel.
And then I only heard his name a couple times, and that was Chad, Thundering 24.
Thundering 24. One of the originators. Better known as East Coast Chad for the old school guys that are in here. We had East Coast Chad, West Coast Chad. So East Coast Chad is Thundering 24, and then West Coast Chad was True 17. So just throwing that out there. Throwing out some knowledge.
Getting with Peabody and Mr. Sherman going in your Wayback Machine. That to not hear him more as somebody for you want to talk about lifetime achievements, and I heard, and again, this isn't anything to do with me loving this person, as an actual person, and this is just, it's mind-numbing how some people have zero ability to think for themselves. That's another one, Aaron. He's doing all the lottery ticket shit now and all that stuff. I'm still subscribed to him and still see a video or two every day from him. Somebody voted for the former commissioner for the Lifetime Achievement Award, saying something about like, this guy's been here, without him there'd be no community. I nearly got up, used inertia, not in my favor, and fucking steamrolled the TV. Because if somebody is that dense, that fucking dumb, to say such an egregious statement, and they believe it, that without precious Jesus of South Dallas, Fort Worth, near Waco, on his ranch, that he is the reason why our community is what it is today. I don't even know. I still watch it and I'm like, I'm waiting for like, hey, here's an amended video. Here's a little pop-up box. Like, here comes, oh, just kidding. This guy wasn't kidding. I was in a state of flummox. I still am obviously bewildered by this statement. The guy has a great collection that made this statement, but at the same time, you have to wonder about his cognitive abilities, because to espouse such derelictual nonsense, I would never ask him for any advice on anything, card-wise, life-wise, chicken sandwich-wise, anything-wise. If you think the former commish gets a Lifetime Achievement Award for what? Bringing the community together? That he's the one that started the community? He was also ran on a forum that collected Josh Hamilton.
Longevity. You can base it on longevity. That's what it's supposed to be.
Understatement of the year, LA Pats. February 1st, ballots over.
It's one of those in which lifetime achievement is meant to be from a longevity perspective, and from that regard, the qualification is met. I do agree that, of a lot of what you said, but on the flip side, Dave, there are individuals that are in the new world of YouTube that only know of X portion. For whatever reason, my videos don't pop up in recommended videos. Tyson NZ doesn't pop up in recommended videos. Sictifer doesn't pop up in recommended videos. A lot of these guys, Puff Bear 359 doesn't pull up in recommended videos. And I don't know if it's an algorithm issue or what, but if it's a lot of these people, me not being included, and Dave, I'll speak for you too, our videos didn't get a crap ton of views. We probably averaged 60-ish, give or take. There were always a few times in which some may get 100 views or a little over 100 views, depending on what the title was, and if it was somebody who was big in the community, so to speak. More people had a tendency to watch it, and it wasn't for a clickbait title. You were sitting there telling people what you were about to show and who it was from. It's not like you were trying to drive more people to your video and be like, hey, I got a package from AR Falcon 77, and not show a package from AR Falcon 77. I will have to say, I got to give mad props to Clint, though. His clickbait title.
Yep.
Way to go, man. 2 thumbs up. I loved every second of that. I was dying laughing.
That was awesome.
I don't know if you're still there, Clint, but I just had to give you a shout out. That was fantastic. because, like you, a lot of us just did it because we wanted to show off cards. You know, and that's all it was. Maybe every once in a while share some knowledge or some information, but for the most part, it was all about showing cards. But as we continue throughout the show, and we're going to focus a lot on this. This is pretty much what the entire show is going to be about. I doubt we talk much about anything else. It's just to bring some light to some of the other channels that, you know, at least in our prime, in hopes that maybe you guys even have an opportunity to go back and watch some videos from other people that we used to watch and enjoy watching. Oh, speaking of which,
Segue.
quick segue. I'm going to post a link, everybody, and I'm going to share this here in a minute. But so bear with me. This may not show very well because I don't do share very well. But bear with me here.
Mr. Archer, sponsor. We're running. I don't think we talked to sponsor, did we?
I think I saw Yingling, so I'm going to go with that.
That is the sponsor, but the link I just shared, not sure how in the world Dave got on this, but speaking of his ballot video, here is our beloved David Archer. So I posted the link. Share it in future videos and Instagram posts, whatever you want to do. But let's vote for Dave Archer and see, you know, maybe we can get him to win something.
You can click on that. I think it makes it like a standalone by itself, and then you can read the description underneath it, which is horrible.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
Yes.
So what's the caption here? Party in the back, disaster in the front. Yeah, well, this is true. So there you go, everybody. The link is in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and cast my vote here. Everybody can see my email address. Not that it matters.
Yeah, Ty, you can do that. I don't care. Post it wherever you want. I want to beat kids. So that's what I want to do, and this is the only way I can legally beat kids. So, right?
I have to put my address in here? All right, well, I'll stop sharing because I'm not going to share my address. Only a few people have that.
And blame Trester. That was good. I don't know how she came across it, but she's like, you should join this. I'm like,
It's a big thing in Minnesota. They have that contest every year. Usually it's a bunch of hockey guys.
It's and I'll probably, when the state tournament's over, I'll do the same thing with Steve. I'll share the link. There's one guy that puts together the hockey hair, all Minnesota hockey team, or the tournament team, and it's Barry Melrose got on a few years ago. I mean, they got big sponsors too. It's like, I know Great Clips gets involved. I know Jimmy John's one year was involved, but there's a lot of. It's not just me and you. Hey, we watched, and then now we're taping the video that we got. It's somebody's doing some good work.
The flows are quite impressive in that hockey one.
A lot of lettuce, a lot of leafy lettuce. So, yeah, if you guys want to vote, and I think you can vote once a day. So keep on voting. If you want to, great. If you don't, that's 100% fine. I think a $250 gift card or something. I don't know what.
And Bobby, you don't know where I live. The only thing you know is I live in Texas.
And there you go. For everyone that's sort of, oh Christ, I don't want to put my address on there. I think it's just email, first, last name.
Not that I expect to get anything from them anyways. Not to mention I put my zip code in wrong on accident.
So
perfect segue though, Dave. You know, thank you, Ed, for mentioning that.
I brought that up too, or something. You mentioned something about the hair, the character to come back for the Hall of Fame. So, or for other episodes or other videos, perhaps. That I'm hoping for a couple more accessories and I won't say his public debut, but his card show debut is tentatively set for summer of 2023. So that'll be it could be one of the biggest nightmares in like everyone's life, just to see what I possibly have planned. So because I think outside of the box, I even think outside of, dare I say, Pandora's box. So
Really, Dave?
Yes, he did.
so I've got thoughts in my head for special ensembles. So that I hope everybody has their camera crews ready. That's all I'm gonna have to say. If you thought Dallas, if you thought Chantilly, if you thought the dredges of fucking New Jersey were all unmitigated disasters, just wait. Chicago, 2023 says, hold my beer.
Oh, damn.
Road trip, better half, 2023.
No
Yeah,
response.
Silence. Never happened before. Silence.
You can hear the excitement in her voice. None.
No reaction, no nothing.
Are you sure she's okay?
Yeah.
She looks to be.
I'd say throw something at her to get her attention, but I know the consequences will be severe and swift.
Yes, I no.
She's obviously engrossed in whatever she's watching.
Road trip 2023, National, Chicago. Dave's gonna act a fool. Are you in?
She doesn't believe him acting a fool either. So
Yeah,
obviously.
Dave Archer can do no wrong in the better half eyes. He's innocent as a schoolboy.
I was going to say she needs to go to the optometrist if that's the case.
Summer 2023, National Card Convention. By then, all the wackadoos should be gone.
And if they aren't, that'll be me closing the casket on them.
This is true. What say you, better half? Okay, we're going to table that for now, and we'll come back to that at a later time. Stay tuned on a future episode of the IRP. Thank you. Have a good day. That wasn't me, Dad. That was her.
Sure, your dad is in a state of shock hearing that.
Yeah, he's never heard that come out of her mouth before. Never. No, she's usually pretty good around my dad, so.
Shall we get to some names to enlighten some folks so we don't ever hear that? I don't know anybody over 3 years. YouTube was created yesterday. Bullshit again.
Go for it, Dave.
Well, I think I've got my one side there and the other side there.
Yeah, I could have filled out more. I just didn't bother flipping pages.
That was me actually. I don't know if you want me to go and then you can stop and talk about some of these guys and gals or whatever, but
Sure.
because I did it mostly in alphabetical order. Because I just went from the top subscription and kept on going, scrolling down. ATX Collectibles 2, Third Mill Sports, Sports Cards, Ron, 13 Gold Glove, Maya. She was one of the rare girls you saw back then in the hobby. Love Adam Wainwright. I mean, I know she went to did a lot of stuff around St. Louis and supported, I think, Ryan in his like quest as he was building his brand up at RBI Crew 7. 62
Yep.
Chink, Eric.
Probably one of the youngest members too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I don't know if there's many. And then for a kid, she wasn't like one of these goofballs today.
No, she knew her stuff. She knew her stuff.
When she watched a game, it was to watch a game, not to fuck around and do whatever. It was, hey, I'm here to watch the game. I don't care about what else is going on. So again, wish knew what happened to her if she's still in the hobby. Still had nothing. It's still like what 10 years ago, I think. Last video, one of her, I want to say, meeting Adam Wainwright. So again, anytime you can meet your player, no matter who it is, no matter when it is, it's always a special moment.
Vinny Door.
One more dog.
Don't you dare raise your voice at me, sir.
I wasn't raising my voice. I was making a statement. People get confused about that. I just have a tendency to go up an octave. I'm not, no disrespect.
Well, normally the door just kind of comes open, and sometimes you don't notice it, which is why I was letting you know that the door got popped open.
Well,
I didn't realize I didn't realize one of them was still out there.
Yeah, the little one. But he can open the door now too. All 20 pounds of him figured it out.
Of course he did.
62 Skunk, Eric. 0310 LSU Tiger. I know we've talked to him. I don't remember if his name was Todd or not. I'm sure it wasn't. That 92, 93, 95 Cowboys.
That was Steve. 90s Cowboys is Steve. Who was attached to Packers chick, but I don't remember the numbers. So it was actually a husband and wife.
That makes sense because when I was going back through Chris's videos, I saw them at the National and 10 in Baltimore, breaking at like a restaurant or whatever in the patio or veranda. Accordion Jacob, one that I loved, and I wish he'd make more because he was so, I won't say frantic, but he was sort of like the all over the place, and that's Asex Deuce 90, Tommy Boy. I enjoy the shit out of it. I love him. And he wasn't in that like initial run. I don't think he was in like the second wave where like Brad, Bart. I don't know if Joey was in there too a little later or not. Because there's about three or four periods. Because I know I'll get to like these names later, but like Dominus Infinitus, Dave's Midlife Card Crisis, Fight on 5-2. Those guys were like the third wave, I think, and like the 2012-ish, late 2011. So you sort of staggered. It was like steps. It was just like, hey, these guys are here in this one. Okay, these guys came in a little later, Purple GT at the end of 2010, early 2011. So yeah, I mean, but we all, after a while, it didn't matter. That was the thing. It didn't matter if you were there in 2007. It didn't matter if you were there in 2012. You were on equal footing. Adam Giaiello, EDS 912, Allen. One that again,
Soccer, ADS, one of the first few people who started actually posting soccer cards back in the day.
a fellow Chargers friend, so I was always over there on a Sunday and just hanging out and then another guy down the road that I'll get to, big Chargers fan. So anytime I could find a Chargers fan, I was happy. AF Cop Night or 13, Bobby.
He was. I debated on putting him on my list, and it was one of those when you always make your ballot. And I wrote them down, and I scratched off names, and I added names, and I did that a few times. I still check in with Bobby to this day. Huge Dolphins fan. Huge. Joined a ton of breaks. Joined a ton of mystery packs. The one thing that I always admired with Bobby, though, is yes, he enjoyed the hobby first and foremost. His collection is pretty substantial, considering. But he was always under the mindset that he would rather pull a card than go and buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that didn't apply to like mystery packs and stuff like that. Yes, and he still posts videos from time to time. But, like I said, I still reach out to Bobby from time to time, check on him. He's had a lot of stuff going on with him personally and health-wise. And I can only hope that, they finally figure out what the hell's going on and they actually get him to the path of true recovery. But Bobby's, I love Bobby. And very genuine, very genuine. Not that others aren't. It's one of those in which you brought him up and he was one of the people that just from like memory I had on my list until I started going through like my subscription list. But Bobby is still active from time to time. Been doing a lot of Pokemon stuff with his son. But for those who want to go and see, he did some rummage videos. Yep, AFCOP 13, Foxy. I want to say a year and a half ago, maybe. But going through some of his stuff that he had acquired, whether it be through mystery packs or opening product and stuff along those lines. He's got some nice stuff.
Yeah, I try to check up on him, especially if I see on Facebook, because sometimes he'll give like the updates, like I know he was in the service, but something happened, and then like physically,
he hurt his back.
Yeah,
which caused him to have honorable discharge from the military.
Yeah.
And then he had civilian jobs, and then for all of a sudden it was like, and I feel bad airing this, but he's talked about it, so it's not like this is secrets or anything.
Yeah.
But like shit really started going downhill from him over the last few years. And like I said, I always think about him. I always check on him from time to time. I don't go on Facebook. I know he posts more updates on Facebook than he does anywhere else. But I make sure I reach out to him every couple months, see how he's doing, and get an update because he knows I don't go on Facebook. And sometimes he posts stuff on YouTube about updates, and other times he doesn't. So it's one of those in which I do think about him. So
that's that's one I think I might have voted for in the past, but again, like for me this year, I left off Denny to put on Clint. And I mean, I could put either one. I could put Everett on there. I could put I am 140 Ryan. I could put Bobby on there. I could put Foxy on there. I could put any of these guys on there. Chad. If nobody goes and looks, therein lies the problem. So again, it's sort of like that revolving door. I want to just get names out there, so people at least they don't have that excuse. I don't know. Well, motherfuckers, now you know. You're gonna be fucking informed. So what you do with the information, we're not to say. That's up to you. If you want to leave it on the side of the road, that's fine. But make damn sure you realize this thing happens next year. Everybody knows how much this thing is, how close it is to my heart. The cockles of said heart. Make fucking damn sure. I hear one person say, I don't know enough. I'm going to be on you fuckers quicker than a fly on shit. Commenting. And if you're not showing cards that I'm commenting and I don't know you, it's going to be some fun. I don't care if I get voted in. I'm glad. We should have said this, I think, earlier, and I don't know if we even did. I can't remember. Like I said, 12 minutes ago, I'm done. Thank you for everybody who voted for us. I'll speak for Steve on this. Again, I don't do it. Steve, I know, doesn't do it for adulation, accolades, pomp, and circumstance. We do it because we love to show off our collections, when we can inform everyone and I won't say bring levity to collecting, but actually bring some knowledge instead of speculation and fucking flashy graphics and bullshit. That's why we do it. And again, if we're showing family or whatever it's our archive to go back. It's not to sit there and I'm going to give you a reach around. If you give me a reach around, then we can have a patch. Reach around, you might find a patch. Who knows? I don't know. No.
Soapbox retract, Dave.
I don't know if it ever retracts. It's I think it's stuck. It's stuck in the seat won't go back. It's stuck in the upright position.
Who knows, Eric? Who knows?
You're asking that now, about 90 minutes in.
I'm pretty sure he asked that question last week too, and the week before that.
It's about 90 minutes, and then everything starts wearing off for him.
One of these days we'll get you on here too, and then maybe then you'll know what's happening. We didn't say they're on the table. They may be on the bingo card, but
they're under the table, Eric. They're under.
We know you like hockey cards, Eric. We know you do. But that doesn't mean you can't add. So does Vinny. So does Dave. That doesn't mean you can't add anything to the conversation depending on what the topic is.
Yeah.
I digress. Go ahead, Dave.
Amy Spore, she was big into like the Hollywood TTMs. I know sports cards or sports stuff too. She did get cards. I think she was another Californian. Speaking of Alex GMC, he did a lot of fishing, and then he sort of went away, which was disappointing because I liked him. He was in that, like the fourth wave with the Worm Burners, the Min Lovers too. Those guys that were coming on, like the right after high school, early college guys. Taka Tanaka Giants, which I've got on here later, looking at that name, I'd completely forgotten about him. AO Clubs 23. I got Aaron, AR Platinum. Ed, A's Fan 7.
Jay's Fan 7. Can't forget Jay's Fan 7. I know you're going in alphabetical order, but his son also did videos. So it was A's Fan 7 and Jay's Fan 7. Alex GMC, I think that's not how it's spelled. It's like GMSEA.
Yeah, it's
I
for
think.
the fishing, because he was always on the war for the pier.
I don't remember the other one though that you mentioned, Ed.
I know the name, but I'm only subscribed, I think, 930 channels, and I know they're obviously not all sports cards. A lot of wrestling content, video creators, a lot of obviously dash cam guys, or get dash cam channels. So I know I wasn't subscribed to a few during the contest. One of them was Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards. I'm like, because I watched those videos and I'm like, how am I not? What happened here? Where's the disconnect here? So quickly amended that.
Well, sometimes I think YouTube goes like on the fritz and does that sometimes. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, that was one that, again, he obviously was part of, like, I won't say our crew, but there's a lot of names that he had in his videos, or like care packages or authentic sports cards.
ASC, yep.
And I remember him, but I don't remember the interactions. I don't remember interacting too much with him.
He did custom breaks. I know he did 2 of them. I think. Yeah, let's see. I think I only joined the one, but this is the time I wish, Chris was still here. But I don't know if you can see that or not. The wood box.
Okay.
So he did 3 group breaks. Never mind. But one of the group breaks, he actually did those boxes.
Okay.
And everybody got a box, and whatever it said on the box, that's what was included in the box. So, but they were custom breaks. And that kind of was a thing later on.
Yep.
Eric keeps asking about hockey cards. I'm sure Dave got some hockey cards. If he has any to show, we'll make sure Dave shows some cards before the evening's over. Just to appease you, Eric. Oh, there you go. There's your hockey card. The great one, Wayne Gretzky. Artist proof. Is that the dealer artist proof? Yep, dealer's choice. Yep. So there's your hockey card. Vinny?
I'm upstairs, so I can't get to my hockey cards. I'd have to step over that, and he's resting quietly.
For now. For now. But custom breaks, I don't want to say they were, I guess you could call them somewhat of a new concept at the time when they were figured out.
Yeah.
But everybody joined group breaks. And it was typically random teams. Everything was the same price. But it was random teams. 30 teams, 32 teams. It didn't matter. Sometimes it was 28, whatever. Randomizer, your name went with the team. That's if you pulled any cards, you got those cards. Custom group breaks, depending on the sport, typically would dictate the number of spots. And it could be anything. It could be teams. It could be something, like Jason did, Authentic Sports Cards. That was AFC Pro Bowl guys. And it was usually patches and autos. Those were your hits. But with the custom group break, everybody got something. You paid your money. Everybody got something. So you were never hitless.
Mhm.
And it was a good opportunity to have multiple quote unquote case hits.
Yep.
I don't know if I didn't pull it down low enough, but I have a Terrell Davis autographed mini helmet in my curio cabinet here. That was in one of Seven's custom breaks that I got. I mean, and that happened to be one of the quote unquote case hits. No, I did not get the Broncos on the draw, but I did trade for them, and I happened to end up with one of the case hits, and it's a Terrell Davis autographed mini helmet. Granted, I think that was planned. I can't prove it, but I think it was planned. But I'm okay with that. I paid my money, like everybody else did. It happened to whoever got the Broncos. I happen to know, so it was very easy to make a trade, anyways. But I think that was partially the intention. But I digress.
Yeah, that. I think I've only gotten into the one. I've told that story. I think Will had the best team. Dawkins 311. Somebody had Seattle, and he had Kansas City, and I got the Eagles, which I'm like, I trying to think from a Sevens perspective. He likes his Hall of Fame stuff. Eagles have some, but most of the stuff at the time I was like really after wasn't like, okay, I'm not going to get like a Steve Van Buren cut or something like that. It'll be like a Seth Joyner jersey or a McNabb, or it'll be something cool, but it won't be something I'm going to be like happy with. The Chiefs, you have so many old school Hall of Famers that he can just like go wild on, and which he did. He got a Buck Buchanan fabric of the game patch to 25, and then a Len Dawson like that rubberized helmet or like gridiron gear auto to 10. I'm like, perfect. That's what I wanted. That's the stuff. And that's a lot of what these custom breaks were. It wasn't, oh, you're going to get like some junk, like a Ray Rice jersey, and that was it.
No,
if you did, that person would quickly be by the wayside and not doing these anymore because people would not join it for that type of rubbish to be included.
Yeah, because I want to say most of them ran you like $35 to $60 depending on who put them on.
Yep.
And for the most part, you got the value that you paid.
Yeah.
Maybe not sell value, but at least, because in those days, book value was still something that was used really as a gauge for a lot of things. There wasn't a whole lot of cards that sold for quote unquote over high book value back in that time frame. But if you paid $35, you got close to $35 worth of cards in your spot. But I know because Sevens did one. Sevens hosted one that King Midas put together. RBI Crew 7, I think, did 2. Puff Bear did 1 or 2. And ASC did 3 based on the fact that it was ASC number 3. But those kind of came later, and it was a cool idea because it wasn't uncommon to join a break and get shut out.
Oh.
And back in those days, if you got shut out, you got shut out. There was no, hey, you're still going to get something.
There was no freebies. Hey, I feel bad for you. It was like America's Most Wanted from TNA. Sorry about your damn luck. Just the way the cards fell.
So I believe it if it was your cat, Bob, but unless you got a dog today, I call bullshit. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And no need to apologize. We understand, man. All good. Go ahead, Dave. Continue.
BA_Absher and then Baltzar, both big Raiders fans. Bauman299.
Creator of absolute bullshit.
Yep.
If you have a chance, I'm gonna go throw this out there. Now, people may have blanked it out, but if you have an opportunity, go on to YouTube and do a search for what year did he do that, Dave? Was it 20?
It was 13 or 14, I think.
Yeah, and I don't remember if he actually affixed a year to it, but it's called Absolute Bullshit in Bauman299. So he took a page out of King of Steaks' book, Gary, who did Tube Traders for years. For anybody who knows anything about Tube Traders, it was a cool idea, cool concept. Gary created cards for YouTubers in the community. The first set was limited to the number of people, but then he started opening it up to other people. And you paid money to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
He sent you stickers, and you had to sign the stickers and then like send back stuff to be used as memorabilia pieces and cards. But Gary King of Steak started the whole Tube Traders thing, and Bauman299 took a page out of that same book and created Absolute Bullshit. And both individuals, from a creativity perspective, the stuff was awesome. And it's all stuff from YouTubers. It's all, their autographs and stuff. Cool shit. So if you get a chance, go check it out. If you can't find anything for Absolute Bullshit, just do a YouTube search for Tube Traders. You'll see all sorts of videos. So it was a cool idea and a cool concept back in those days. And I have all the autos I wanted for the 1 year I was in it. And I do have my 101 patch auto as well. So pretty cool.
We had BB Express 2. Josh, he ran a lot of breaks, and they're starting up a shop down in, I think, Monticello, Minnesota. Bears player 23, Zach. Big Fish 7499, Jason. Boston Broncos fan 21, Brett. Reese No Aints, Rich. Bryofia 3540. Dro Montana 1987. Bucknell Bison, affectionately known as Butters. Greg, he's out in Vegas now. Doing some pretty good. I know so I've got him on Facebook too, and he's doing like sports broadcasting now. And I'm fairly certain it's either on TV or like fairly big radio. So good for him. That's what he was wanting to do way back then. So Calfish 78, that's the other one I talked about with Alan. ADS.
Yeah, that was Chris Calfish. Yep.
Can't Slow Down P-Town. He's now known as Card Cape Central, but All-Star Jersey Shop Manny.
Yep, he was on my list. Yeah, Herd Fan 87 is one that we kind of were thinking about, but he pulled all his stuff down.
Yeah, he's only got stuff from like the last year, and that's a very limited amount.
Yep, but he's a lot more active on Instagram these days, though, too. Yeah, Matt's good peeps.
Case 3223, John Case. Cased in Glory. Cisco 69, which I think he was over in Trudy's room a ton. if I remember right. But like again, later on the bottom list, this list, it's go Wisconsin football.
Yeah, and Cisco was one of the original big spenders, buying Exquisite and opening like personal breaks of Exquisite.
And that's a lot of this stuff when we're giving you, and again, if this is something you want to know, like the actual spelling, message us somewhere. We'll give it, because there's a lot. I looked through a lot of these. I'm like, there's NT cases going up, old basketball, Exquisite. I mean, box after box after box. And you're thinking, how the hell can they afford them? Well, it wasn't $80,000 a fucking, for just the styrofoam in the box. It was,
yeah, $1,200 to $1,500 a case, 300 plus a box, which, you know, being super high end, that's still a substantial chunk of change. It's not. I mean, me personally, I've opened 3 cases of Exquisite. Five cases of Exquisite football in my time of being even on YouTube. One of them was long before I opened a case of 2007, and then 2009 I opened 4. Crazy. But anyways, I digress. Go ahead, Dave.
Clevin's 12, Cobra 10 SVT.
David Smith.
Yep.
Funny story about Cobra 10 SVT. He actually does. He posts stuff on Instagram, at least these days. So,
yep.
I ended up buying a card from him that he listed on eBay, and he realized that it was me after the fact, and felt so bad that he let me buy it. He refunded me my money. And I was like, dude, you put it up on eBay. It just happened to be yours. I supported you. It's not that big of a no. And this was before he and I really started interacting type situation. And, you know, he and I used to chat quite a bit. And that's one of the main reasons why I hate not having my old phone, my old phone number even. I lost a lot of contacts because I used to interact with a ton of people via text message. And, you know, since I don't have my old phone anymore and it's still on the fritz, I still kept it in the event that maybe I can take it in and maybe they can figure out what's going on with it and I can pull some of my old contacts. But yeah, Dave's good peeps.
I know I've got a couple Ripkins he wants. I'm eventually probably going to sell them to him. I got like a logo tag of 108. Tom Brady, no, nobody cares.
I don't know a Tom Brady.
I'll have to pass all that wordage. I don't need that. You want to see my feet, Eric?
Wow.
Coke dealer. One that I know politically we don't see eye to eye, but I like him a lot. And I've always thought a lot of him. Connor, USMC 86, Matt. Crazy MJ. You want to go look at some basketball shit? That's just go to that channel now, even if you miss this. He's a guy that busted a fucking ton.
NT, a lot of NT.
Ton of cases.
Steph Curry, RPAs.
Yes, in the infancy of Panini NT, he was all about it. Daddy 1824. Dawkins
Oh,
311.
no, Frank.
Deck No 2. DeLorean Fan 81. Ryan. Den 10. Deuce 2468. Debs 30. Dolphin Fanatic 3939. I don't even know if he's got his stuff up there, but I put him on there because, again, if you want to talk complete collections of players, when I think of Von Miller, I think of Drunk Trojan, Luke.
Yep, he's mostly on Instagram these days.
Yep. Duke 1410. Edwarha.
Who I met. One of the few people I had an opportunity to meet out in Reno.
Used to be the Pistons fan too, way back in the day, which I've talked about him earlier. Elon Heikenberg, Emerald 404, E-Patch Collector.
Who made a comment on P-Daz's video, Emerald 404 did. On his video yesterday, day before, whatever it was.
E-Patch Collector, Fight on 5-2 James. Some guy named Foxborough Sensation 11.
Yeah, we don't know who that is.
Gasman 0220 Mike. Ghost of Zeppo, which he's something like you, where you guys make a video once every month and a half ish, somewhere in there.
Yeah, but when he deleted his original channel, he lost a lot. I mean, he had a lot more content under Zepho TBS.
Yeah. Good Call 6, which I don't know why I can't get Mac to ever do anything. I'm like, get on here, do something. And then Go Wisconsin Football. Greg Thomas 82, he's done a little more over the past year, I think he's got a couple kids, so it's sort of doing with them, Pokemon or whatnot. I don't even know if he's got his channel. I wasn't, and I remember I was subscribed, so I don't know if again, booted me out, but Cavelli Cards Are Us. Like, Polly from, I remember that from movies ago.
Yeah, I think he deleted his channel.
So I saw that in one of the videos, purchases from or care package, or just because, oh my god, I completely forgot about him. GSN Cards. No videos on the next channel. His hair was wicked wild. I know he's doing sort of the youth ministry type stuff, like a Young Life. Because I want to say he was in South Dakota, and I think he went to some religious college there. Another one of the good kids from back in the day, and everybody, he wasn't a lot of kids. You're get the hell out of here. Just you're gonna ask questions until people want to punch you. But Sean had Bando, had that Brillo pad fro for that flop of hair, and just I still have him on Facebook. Matt Colley, Herd Fan 87. He changed his name. I don't remember what it was before. I tried to remember some of these names, what they were formerly known as, and I couldn't. But Sean Hayuk Graphs, the Lions fan.
Well, it used to be just Hike Graphs or Hoyt Graphs or whatever that was his previous YouTube name.
You sure? I thought it was something else. Okay.
That's what it was originally, and then I think he changed it again. But I remember it earlier on as his last name, and it was Graphs.
Okay, that's what it's still at. It's kind of capital, small, capital, small, capital.
Yep.
Ike Love 500, another big basketball guy.
Adam.
Ryan, I am 140.
It
took me a while.
That guy, I just. What are you doing, Eric?
He needs to get a stronger prescription.
There, Eric. There. Mario Lemieux, Johnny Bauer, out of Pacific Exhibit, Time Warp, number to 565. Carry on with your feet.
Hopefully that'll tie him over for a little bit.
I remember going in the guy's blog room. Again, I was another California dude, and he was usually on, which would have been like, what, 11 o'clock in the Sunday mornings, or in the early afternoon on Monday when I get back from work. Iron Gorilla 1973. And it took, I had to go start like watching a video to remember who that was, because I'm like, I know I recognize him. Jason mentioned him before, Jackie D 23456. Jay Addison 96, John Jeter to Man 1, Ty Durden 555.
Jeter to Man 1 though, R.I.P.
Yep. There's like him, and I want to say, I've got him on there, and I swear that he passed away too, was Weaver fan like 505.
I don't remember the name, but I remember his wife posting a video about him. And that I know happened, it was more recent. But Jeter to Man 1 was, I believe, one of the first people that we lost early on. And then, and I don't know if you remember or not, but Taz McCann was another one that we lost.
Okay.
She passed away from cancer.
I remember the name.
She was so she used YouTube as an escape deal, because during, like chemo and everything else, you could always tell right after, she had a chemo treatment or whatever, and she'd post videos and stuff along those lines. But she used YouTube as an escape to deal with the shit of fighting cancer and dealing with chemotherapy and everything else. And pretty strong showing from a lot of individuals out there, at least stating, how it was sad that, she sadly passed away and everything else. So yeah, those were the two early on that I remember. If there were others, unfortunately, I wasn't either subscribed or, subscribed to anybody who knew of them. But I do know that there was one later on in which his wife posted a video letting everybody know that he had passed away. And then, of course, we lost Ricky Russo, a few years back. Well, Joe Ryan fan too. I didn't know who that was.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those in which, regardless of who you know, who you don't know, it still hits hard anytime we do lose somebody in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless if you knew them or not, it still hurts. It still hurts. Lucky to be here, Carmine.
Yes.
I remember when Joey ended up posting his video that we sadly lost him. Carmine was hurt horrifically, I believe, in a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And, in a wheelchair, his mom used to help him with his videos and give him certain cards and stuff along those lines. But Carmine was an individual who also loved life, to say the least, and used YouTube and cards as a way to escape his constant fights every day.
Mhm.
So I mean, we've lost some good people over the years. Whether you knew them or not, it still, like I said, it still hurts when you lose somebody, because this is still very close knit. Whether or not you know any of the old guard or not, and it's strictly the new guard, it still hurts regardless. So.
Yep. Who else? I saw this one. I think in like one of the, again, I don't know if it was a comment or the title Super Sets, which I remember him from buying in Cards Infinity, like literally every high end, mid to upper end break. Jeff, Johnny Summers, which that's his name now, John Summers, used to be IUND 2009.
Yep.
Jay Spartan 98. One of Joey's favorite breakers of all time, Julian Gaston, big 49ers fan.
Yep.
JW Smitty 80. One name I, again, completely forgotten about, King Fluffy 1979. One that I went to the Packers game with Joey, Lambeau Leap fan, Marcus. Another guy that was always in the Truthy Room. Another guy that was always with like Adam Jallo, P-Daz, Phenom Dave, R35 Joe, all those, that whole clique team. That was always fun to, again, we always say it, we make it sound like was so great. Yes, we had our drama. Yes, we had our quarrels and bitching and people like, okay, you know what, I for whatever reason am not really kosher with those guys or those guys, but we managed to commingle. We just, the hobby, we liked it, and even if we probably wouldn't admit it, we watched their videos to see what they got, because we all just like cards. But yeah, there's the drama of today wasn't like it wasn't back then. It wasn't. We had it. Still making videos, but he's been around forever. I know I heard his name in a couple of Hall of Fame. Lefty, NDV 10, Drew, Lil Maz 301, Tim. I know I talked, I think, Steve about that some other time. Sort of the, I don't want to say armpit of the community then, but like the punching bag. LJ Maya, Lon.
Yeah.
He he took some ribbing, to say the least. Magdorn, Tyson, he doesn't have anything up anymore. Man Spokane, Lynn, Starvin Marvin, which Chris alluded to earlier when he was on 0319. Mike Sheevy, which again, that's another one I forgot about, because again, when you post what you think politically or what you think of situations on Facebook, some people don't unfriend you that have been your friend for numerous years because of that, instead of saying, like, well, I see it this way, let's have a talk about it. No, I'm going to unfriend you. And I think that was one that did, but I know he sent me a Josh Johnson Triple Threads patch. I don't know if it's patch auto or just a patch. that I think he had gotten out of a break, number to 3. So again, I wish things were different in some regards, but again, people make choices, and that's stuff you just have to live with. And sometimes, hope Jason's still here. One I loved a lot. I love going in his room. Used to be called In Bogle We Trust. Mike Ashley, 24. He's still got some stuff up, not a ton. Men Lovers 2, Nick. Squall. Squally Style, 2028. 68, that's BT. Lenren, 2004. I don't know. I didn't even look to see if he's got any videos. Oompa 7 Deuce. I think Joey voted for this guy for the Hall of Fame Packers corner, Troy.
Yep. Ton of subscribers back in those days.
Yeah.
Over 1,000, I think over 1,200 subs, which in our time, that was huge.
Anytime you got near 1,000, you were living the good life. Partly Cloudy, 531, Matt, P-Daz, Phenom 3210.
Phenom Dave.
I love it. I love to rip the shit out of him for the GTL, that Jim 10 laundry. He's going to go fist pumping in the fucking club with Ronnie and the situation. Philly Man Cave. Another one that I'd forgotten completely about one until I saw like the thumbnails of the dude. Pooch Cake 0220. Big Yankees fan. One of your faves. I'm going in alphabetical order. It's got to be there. Who is it?
Puff Bear 359.
Correct. Rare Luck. Ribs and Whiskey. One of Foxy again. I'm sure he's asleep by now. He's an old man. It's way past his bedtime. Rick Nash, 1975. Corey. Again, I remember Foxy. I remember him. JBB. Mike, Ashley. I mean, it's like just that was another group of people. Ed Bird. Just.
Oh, sorry. So, funny story for those who were actually paying attention and listening. Mind you, I was still new.
Mm-hmm.
I had bought a case of 2010 Prestige from Chris at the Hobby Box, and I wanted him to break it. Well, he couldn't very well do it while at the store, so he went on Blog TV to do my personal case break. And at the time, I had ops in Chris's blog room, as with a lot of other people. And I don't remember exactly what was transpiring, but I kicked Ed Bird out of the blog room. And I pretty much got like bashed and all sorts of crap. And, I apologized immensely afterwards. And, I won't say Ed and I were like best of friends by any stretch of the imagination, but he and I at least got partially close to where it was, no harm, no foul type situation. But yeah, I was the guy known for kicking Ed Bird out of a blog room. Go figure. Just thought I'd tell that story.
And I still have the time when he fell asleep on blog, and I taped it. I put it on YouTube, and I think that pretty much killed his blog career. He's just like slouched over in a chair. Again, it was like 1:30 for me, so it was like 2:30 for him, because I know he's out on somewhere on the East Coast by that Boston area, somewhere in that neck of the woods. But a much more fun time in that regard, where you could just hop on and be like, oh, where, because it came up sort of like you go to categories or whatever it was, and then like sports or what, I don't even remember what like the subgenre was, but you'd see, okay, there's Truth, he's got 198 viewers. Cards Infinity Chris has like 121. GSN, I'm just hypotheticals here. GSN's got like 51. Jenny's got 39. Ed Bird's got 26. Raw Red Baboon Ass has 20. Old Irish Rev has 22. Whatever it was, but you could see, like, okay, I'll just sort of hop around, see what's going on everywhere, and find your people, as it were. So, I mean, you could be like, okay, so and so is here, but I really don't know the rest. So, okay, stick around. Nothing's really going on here. Go to another room. Okay, there's about 10 of my people here. I'll come back. We'll be like, hey, just checking in quick. I'm just sort of making the rounds. Probably will be back quickly, but just want to see what's going on. And then, okay, they're breaking over here. They're breaking. Denny's breaking, but you didn't buy in, so it's like, I want to watch, but over here they're talking, and we're just bullshitting. We'll go there. I mean, I want to support the guys, but at the same time, if I'm not buying into every break, I don't need to watch every break. I like it because most of the time, like a Denny, a Nick, all the guys would talk, but I mean, those guys would talk more. Mute. You're mute.
Thank you. For the record, I'm not used to being on mute other than, to try and avoid the background noise. Raw Red Baboon Ass was a legitimate person on Blog TV.
I was waiting to.
That was not made up.
That was going to be my question. That's why I unmuted myself.
No, that was not made up. That was not made up. I don't remember who the hell it was, but I remember the name.
Craig?
And don't get me to lying.
I remember an older guy, Craig, or Craig or Greg? Help us out, Jason. You were knee deep in the muck. We were ankle deep.
Since you're past the P's, though, Patriots fangirl 12.
Yes. Cammy? Craig
Yep.
Lewis, who it was. Because I think he played guitar. There it is.
C. Lewis, I think, was his YouTube name.
But C. Lewis 81. I don't know.
C. Lewis something.
That was the fun part, too. I mean, I won't say I was like, oh man, I want to go everywhere, but I mean, you'd see some of these people, be like, okay, there's like 15 people in that dude's room. I'm like, I gotta know like a few. So you sit there for a while and it's like, okay, this is something different. Not saying I don't want to listen to Chris, not saying I don't want to listen to you or Danny. That's Jason.
So why didn't you come on the show then? Oh, because Dave didn't send him a link.
And that I thought about it, and he won't be on. I should have, but he'd rip some prism for us. I know he would. I know he's got some blasters of 1920 prism somewhere. I know he does. I know it. So I know. Unfriended. Just.
Yep, you're in the shitter, Dave. You're on the shit list.
What can you do? You might. There is a possibility.
Ay. Eric is definitely on a roll this evening. I don't remember, honestly. Did we have many hockey collectors, Dave, back in that time frame? I mean, baseball and football were like the top.
And
Basketball was the like the tail end.
and football was like the king by far, at least of what we watched.
Well, yeah, because that's what we were most interested in. But
But I
even
mean,
then,
if you went through like everybody that I went through, it wasn't like, oh, T206, pre-war, vintage. No, it was. And I didn't even get to. I don't think I wrote him down because I don't even know if he's got anything up. But and I think he changed his name if he didn't. The Choice 22, Chris. That was another one that was around a lot. A big Titans guy. I'm still rolling, but it's like there's so many of the guys and gals. It was football, just because. I don't know if baseball was in like a doldrum. You start having a lot of your guys from the '90s retiring. You got Griffey retiring. You got Frank Thomas going. You got Piazza going. I mean, you got a lot of icons from that last 20 years just leaving, retiring. They're done. So it's like, yeah, there's some great young talent out there, but at the same time, it's like football. Football had all the bells and whistles, and I think with Upper Deck, pretty much they tried to put out the 2010 product, and then they weren't supposed to, and that pretty much like, you know what, your license for anything's pulled. Upper Deck, you're stupid for baseball. Then you take that out of the equation, a lot of people are Upper Deck supporters then. A lot. So you take that away, it's like, well, I'm going to go to Upper Deck football, or that playoff Donruss, and then to Panini, the gridiron gear. That was, I'd say, king for us, and absolute, because of the patches, the jumbo patch. Exquisite was fun, but again, you had to pay. And everybody, even the guys that were like into the big stuff, were still looking for the best bang for their buck. And that gridiron gear would deliver. If you wanted to buy like the one pack per like quote unquote box, UD Premier was a big one for that time.
yeah, both baseball and football for that matter.
I remember so many people ripping that stuff.
Hey, Yannick, welcome back. Can you show Eric some hockey cards?
Yeah. He's
Just thought I'd ask.
It's a little Messier Lemieux. That'll give Eric his fix for the next 20 minutes. Out of National Treasure.
There's you another hockey card, Eric.
And I've got
Maybe you should collect some other sports, because I could show you some other sports, but hockey is not one of them. And no pickups for that matter.
which we didn't even ask about, but that's all right. Sam Kind 4. That was another one that I don't want to say he's a poor man's Bob Lewis, but he had that sort of odd sense of humor, but a super caring, genuine guy.
Roger Clemens, wasn't it?
Huge Roger Clemens collector.
Yeah.
I want to say he was like musically inclined too, guitar or otherwise. And I know his sense of music wasn't like the mainstream stuff. A lot of like the indie or like the I don't want to say non-mainstream, but just stuff you're not going to hear on your local radio station unless you're down near the NPR or the NPR type radio tucked away in there somewhere where it's I don't even know how to describe the stuff. So, but that was, and I love Sam. I see him. He'll like a couple things on Facebook at once a week or twice a month or whatever it is. So it's always good to see that he's still around, because you never know when these people. It's not like you're notified. Hey, somebody unfriended you. It's like unless it's out of sight, out of mind. Another guy, Scootliest, over the road truck driver, big hairy bushy beard too. Get to two guys that I usually, when I think of one, I think of the other. Scoth 2244, Sictifer 2024. And then Steluka Dan, now Gun Show 605. The next guy I met at the Guns N' Roses concert, Snodjuice. He was in like a lot of the breaks in Truth too, and Trudy's room. Scott, Stall Style 21, Josh. Guess what? No videos. He deleted them all too. So
Did he really?
which sucks, because I know he had a lot of the Just Because stuff sent to him. I know I sent 2 or 3, I think. I know you had sent, I think, stuff his way.
No, I don't. I never. I just started kind of talking with him later on.
Okay.
So it was one in which he was always on my list. It just never like came to fruition. There were a few guys that always kind of sat on my list that never came to fruition for whatever reason, but that happens though too.
Sent that package to Chris. That's one of the most epic of our time.
Yes, and I had that on my favorite videos because I mean that was, I think that was pretty much like his last hurrah.
Mm-hmm.
30 something. I think it was damn near close to 30 cards. They were all one-on-ones for Chris's collection.
Mostly, I think, with D'Angelo.
It was D'Angelo and what's the freaking Rockies?
Tulo.
Yeah, Tulo. Thank you. I was like, why the hell can I think of his damn name? But they were all one-on-ones. Every single card was a one-on-one. Unreal.
Jerome Baker Boys, Ed Bird, Techno Bailey. Now known as Pine Tar Sports Cards, Jayhawk 1971. I think that was another Scott.
Yes. Opened a card shop in the Missouri area too.
Kansas City, somewhere opposite side. Because I know I saw him at one of the trade nights or whatever for Ryan. Talked to him for a while. One of my favorite guys of the younger, the fourth wave or whatever would be Stotty Boy 4191. I love him. He's such a genuine guy too. Just really another one that wears the heart on the sleeve, and to have like a solid head on your shoulders for you at the time a younger guy. Again, Goofy at the time, but still, super nice. Taka Tanaka Giants.
School teacher.
Yep, super smart guy too.
In China or Japan, one of the two.
Yeah, because he always had the food, the like little candies or whatever.
Yep.
Snack. He'd show them off too, good for us. And Worm Burner 509, no videos. Andrew, he was up in, I think, Washington, if I remember right. And I think he was like I don't know if he's doing something in like science, if I remember correct. Tammy Husband, Jesse, Tank Tard 20, Jeff. Somebody we haven't seen in a while in here, the Cardman 64, Joe.
Yeah.
The Ravens fan 516, Eric.
Came in with the splash and disappeared.
Yes. I know he had, because he came in and it was like he was getting ready to get married like within 6 months. So it's like, and he was buying heavy too. But again, whatever. Just you'd like to see everybody stick around a little longer, or at least post videos. That's what I want people to do. Post a video. You don't have to sit there and do it like we used to. Mondays where you get 20, 30 videos in your subscription because the weekend, the mail comes. Tuesdays were dead. Wednesdays you might get a couple more. Thursday, a few. Friday or Saturday. Saturday you didn't want them because you didn't get the views. It was always about the breaks. Who's going on blog tonight? Hey, remember the mystery packs? Let's just fill them up. Do whatever. It was that Monday through Thursday, and then if you had something monster on a Friday, try to upload it by like 4 or 5. Because again, that evening, that's blog time. Nobody's watching, and they'll get lost. Not necessarily lost in the shuffle, but it'll be unless you're one of the big name guys out there, you're getting something from like True 17, Cards Infinity, Chris, ARFL 77. It'll get pushed down on the priority list. One that I usually vote for the Hall of Fame, I only saw 1 or 2 votes. Tim Mousey, big NASCAR guy, wrestling guy, West Virginia guy. TSDST 5.
Tangier.
He's another Giants fan, New York Giants. Little Mr. Hardcore, big wrestling fan, big Browns fan. Tyson NZ here. Up to par 84.
Tommy.
Tommy Golf.
But he's in the Hall of Fame. Tommy Golf 85 is in the Hall of Fame, though.
Oh yeah, I know. Giving him his due, because again, I have to give some Minnesota guys some love. Wait 333. Another one of my favorite guys. Even back then, you never heard him embroiled in anything. Buju, 2004.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny T. Morgan.
Medic Mail Days.
Yes.
You want to talk? I know he was posting a few videos. He was doing some unboxing stuff or whatever. But I want to say that he ended up having to part with quite a bit of his collection. He was a football Hall of Fame guy, and if there was something out there, usually he had it. And we're talking some very, very rare stuff, very expensive stuff. He was one of the few early on that, you know, it wasn't uncommon potentially for him to drop $1,000, $1,200, $1,300 on something because it was a cut auto for the Hall of Fame collection. But like Dave said, it just, I don't want to use the phrase just there, but you know, it was posted his videos, was on blog from time to time. Always nice, always genuine type of stuff. But some of his stuff, holy crap. Wow. That's really all I can say.
And I, again, friends with him on Facebook, but I know he's in some kind of, it's not a stonemasons thing, but it's some kind of one of those old school groups of guys, and I don't remember what it is. I think he was sort of like, I don't want to say training for it or whatever the hell it's called, but he was a lengthy initiation or the process of being indoctrinated into this group. So I'll see him post something about that every once in a while. Obviously, I'm not doing well enough for getting what it was or what it is.
Did you mention Hudson Fan 15? I don't remember you actually mentioning Tom.
Again, I didn't mention Tommy.
Because I was just sitting here looking at my list and trying to scratch off a few people. I know we touched on, at least Foxy brought up a bum in a suit.
Yep, Jim.
Cowboy Like Me. Nobody mentioned him. Or I should say you didn't mention him. And I know Mike is in here from time to time, but 25 Modown 25 has a YouTube channel. I don't recall if he ever made videos or not. I didn't bother to go check.
Nope. I don't think he had him up.
Pretty sure you mentioned Wenzel, but Funky Diabetic 1. I don't know if you mentioned him or not.
You mentioned him, yeah.
Hook'em Mikey.
Yep.
Ken's Cards was another one. I don't think he ever posted videos, but he was always around blog commenting.
Like R35 Joe.
Yeah.
Same thing, commenting on videos, or always in blog rooms.
Yeah, most of the other ones you mentioned that I had kind of written down. Because like you, I kind of started going down my subscriptions list. And there were some I didn't write down just because I didn't think they had videos. Yep, Ken. I was trying to jot down ones that I could recall from time to time, like seeing videos just randomly as I was looking through like my history or my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like we've been saying for a while, you know, there are still a ton of channels out there that still have videos up to where I get that everybody wants new videos posted, but at the same time, you know, it's one of those in which there are still a lot of individuals well deserving of recognition and, you know, showing some appreciation and love towards some of these older people. Because as I said earlier, a lot of these people kind of paved the way for the newer people to come in. But, you know, you gotta remember the past though too. And there's a lot of good people that were out there, and a lot of good channels that were out there and are still out there for that matter. So
That it surprises me that the one when we have so many of these quote unquote vintage baseball type collecting folks voting on a Hall of Fame. They're up in arms over the actual Hall of Fame vote. And well, they should have done this, they should have done this, they should have done this. You look at a channel that's been up for 3 years. Okay, they only make whatever 8 videos a year, 10 or 12 or whatever it is, because they buy whatever. But they do a real good job on it. It's like they've been around for 4 years. That's the thing. I get where not everybody's been around.
maybe Big Dave. This is in our group chat. So there's your top 15. Brad just missed it.
The one I thought gonna get in was Jimmy Guns. I heard him quite a bit.
Yeah, but Brad even surpassed him in votes. And then Dave and Carlos bringing up 14 and 15. So there you have it. So yeah, there you have it.
What can you do? I like the change of 3 years at the same time. I think Mike O said it. I think Ed said it maybe too. I like 5 years. I do. It's a nice number. If people don't want to participate because they don't want to go back and learn, they don't want to ask questions. That's the on them. But when you have all these baseball Hall of Famer, purist, vintage stuff, how? And again, I know a lot of it is because it's what they collect. I know a lot of it's because they're chummy chummers with them. I always am puzzled with the double standard. Well, again, Trista said to me, she's like, you'd probably get more votes if you didn't always voice your opinion on things. And she wasn't saying it to like, oh, you should change. And she's like, that people are just, I don't remember the exact verbiage. It's not frightened, but they're when they challenge me, and I come back with a retort with actual quote unquote intelligence, and I'm not just like spewing my venomous hatred from the shores of the wondrous Lake Superior. That puts them in the predicament that, oh well, they don't look like they're the main attraction. It's like, well, no, you got to have them look like they're the kings, because then their constituents won't respect them. You can't call into question these people. I'm in the I don't care. That was one of the one things I did enjoy. I do enjoy listening to when actually somebody has actual reasons for voting for somebody. When you see people older than all three of us saying, well, you know what, I like that channel, it's a pretty cool channel. That's your fucking reason. Or I like him. They have good videos. What? I mean, that should be not only disqualification from the process, but you should be disqualified from life. I mean, you don't understand anything if you're, that's, again, criteria is criteria, but at the same time, you know what? I like Josh Johnson. He had 2 good years, it's 2.5. He should go in the Hall of Fame. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Yeah. You want folks to sort of be on the same wavelength. It's always going to be impossible to do so, especially in a glorified popularity contest. But to hear the actual reasons because somebody voted for you, and it's not just he's got cool cards or I like his intros or something stupid like that, something so fucking shallow that it doesn't register on any normal person's mental scale. I hate to say the phrase that we all love, but I do appreciate that. Because I know we all try not to be such shallow representatives of the hobby that's going to make us feel good. Like, oh, he's got cool videos. Oh, man, I'm going to puff out my chest. He thinks I'm cool. Nobody fucking cares. We're not 12. We're not 14. We don't have the newest whatever skateboard or fucking starter jacket. It's if I want to watch videos, I want to watch somebody passion, knows what the fuck they're talking about, is dedicated, they're not all over the place, and they talk. I want length in videos. I don't want to have like a 5-minute video on 5 cards. You're not teaching me anything in 5 minutes. But to have the rationale, the reasoning behind some of these video or these collections. Oh, he's got a great collection. Again, everybody that got a vote probably has, in some way, shape, or form, a great collection. Just because Joey Jojo Shabadoo Jr., fucking cunts, rip-off shitheads, talk about a real cartel, fuckers, has spent $8 billion on high-grade vintage, which, again, I can appreciate. But when that's like your parameter, it's like, oh man, he spent a ton of money on a collection. Well, yeah, fuck, there better be something worth a shit in there. I don't want to see 4 pallets full of 89 Pro set. It's something that no matter what we think, what we say about it, how we react to it, there'll always be something that gets not the blood boiling, not the blood bubbling. It's something that'll always be a discussion point. I might send him some shekels. I might go live for like 5 live streams a day talking about potatoes and my car.
No. No.
Start in October, and then it'll become chummy with the connection, and it'll just sort of fade away.
I want to go. I do want to go back to this though, and Mike has a valid point. With that comment there, and his follow up with this, it is going to be difficult for a lot of the old school people to continue to get the recognition. The only way that the old school are going to get the recognition is more of the old school come out of retirement and make videos and potentially help some of those individuals. But on the flip side, if more individuals in the Hall of Fame, so we know Bob, Mike O, Ed, those 3 guys, Aaron Davis. So 4 that I know of that are in the Hall of Fame voted for Dave. So maybe, just maybe, somehow, shape, form, or fashion, we'll get Dave in at some point because, I want Dave I want him there just because. Just because. For no other reason. But I digress. I digress. And before I forget, we're actually coming up on the 3-hour mark. However, I did want to go back. Where is it? Because I asked him to bring it up. Honestly, I subscribe to some newer channels. I don't want to throw out any names yet because I'm still trying to get acclimated with some of them. LA Pats, to be honest. But I wanted to circle back to this and Dave to see if there was, anybody that you had that comes to mind as far as any of the newer guard that is come around that you would throw out there. Like I said, I'm still trying to get acclimated with a lot of them. I've only started watching, stuff here and there because I'm trying to get through my watch later list of those people that I always want to make sure that I support. So it's taking me a while to start watching some of these other individuals. But I didn't want to end the show without circling back to his question. I will not do an acceptance speech. But thank you for chiming in there, Carlos.
I don't know if there's any. Again, new channels. I mean, there's guys I'll watch once in a while, depending on what I see for the topic or whatever the title of the video is. A lot of the time, though, I'm dissuaded by watching these guys because they take such you figure I'd say this, but such a professional approach. You've got the boot, you've got the mic, you've got the guard on the mic, you've got the lighting. You don't need all that. It's going to be like the old man yelling, "Get off my lawn." It's going to be generational. We're the point and shoot. We're the whatever. We don't need to sit there and. If I want lighting, like when I got those brochures from the guy in Czech Republic, I went outside because there's a lot of refractorage. I wanted that sunlight to catch it, and that's going to be my lighting. I'm not going to sit. And I'll speak to the channel specifically, and I like being a player collector first. That's the thing I usually gravitate towards because I know the grind. I know when you find something that you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I didn't have this. The Wade Boggs guy, the Wade Boggs collector, John. I like the dedication. If I had a room like that for Josh Johnson, I'd be on cloud 9. Because again, that his room is just, it's a museum. But here's where I struggle a lot. I know, I want to say I've heard him say, or either his wife, when she was on, I think it was Mike, my buddy Mike, my good friend Michael, down in southern Texas. His channel, they had like the wives or the girlfriends, and she had brought up something about like having Wade's cell phone number in his phone. And it brings me to like Tanner, who has went to Jose Canseco's house. It's me personally, I'm sure a lot of collectors are like, oh my god, that's like the fucking wet dream moment. You have your favorite player's number in the phone, you've been to their house, you talk to them at their house for hours, whatever the case may be. If that's sort of like your stepping stone, you're like, I'm this is what my sick brag bro is gonna be like. Oh, I know Josh Johnson. We barbecued. Would that be cool? Yes, but I'd feel insanely uncomfortable. Would I meet him? Yeah, I'd love to meet him, but I don't want to sit there and probably hang out with him and constantly talk about like the cards I made or the cards I have, or hey, I've got this. Hey, I've got the cleats. Hey, I've got bats and what. For me, that's just uncomfortable. I love the level of fandom, but to sort of use that as like a prop, a pedestalization, if you will, of your level of collecting, that's not for me. So the new channels, there aren't tons. Just because they're it's not that there isn't anything out there. There's certainly tons of it. When I start thinking of like the new channels, my mind immediately goes to the jerk offs of the trolls living under the bridge and swiping out like the Salvation Army for the new wardrobe or whatever it is. That these people just need to go away, or give them some Pantene and say, hey, take a shower, buddy. You know that water's for your hair too, right? Don't just put it in a ponytail. That doesn't work. Or a little whatever the Cabbage Patch pineapple thing on top of your head. That's the bad connotation. You start thinking of a lot of these new channels. Aranya Boys, I like him. I like Scotty because he's with his kid and having fun and just doing what I'd consider normal collecting. That's one that I'd send people to.
Could you consider Bob Lewis technically a newer channel, though?
Well, that's I found him in the first go around with the voting. I found Scotty Tradition, in that first round of voting. Snoop, Aaron Davis, a lot of the rubbish, basically the medical waste of the ocean was in there too. But yeah, when I consider new, it's usually the last like 4 or 5 years. Stove, Mark, watched his the Hall of Fame video from last year, and God, I just pissed myself again. I forgot how funny that was. But yeah, that's the one good part about this process, finding new channels, because people don't do the just becauses anymore, or they don't do them as frequently. So you're not like, oh man, 10 videos a month of just because. No, you're probably getting 10 a year. If that.
Well, part of that has to do with values.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I've said it before, that should never be taken into consideration when you send stuff to anybody. You send stuff to somebody because you want to, regardless of what its value or perceived value is. You know, I look at
fact.
Yep. I look at stuff that I sent years ago, and some of that stuff is probably tripled or quadrupled in value potentially, and I don't care. It's in the stuff I send nowadays. Granted, it's not the patches and the autos and stuff that it once was, because honestly, I don't have any of that stuff. I don't open a lot of product. That's where a lot of the stuff came from, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff that's coming out of my collection that I try and push more towards the sentimental aspect, that it's come from my collection and going to yours type situation. But it's never been about the value, even from that perspective. And just because something seems cheap or low value doesn't mean that it should mean anything less.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the unfortunate side of where we are as far as the hobby is concerned. Everything is a lot more expensive, but that should still never be a detriment to somebody wanting to send something to an individual out of the kindness of their heart, because it never had anything to do with value, ever.
No. I'll wrap up the chat with the last thing. I was disappointed in seeing like people vote for Jabs, vote for that Packer fan 87. These people are not part of an overall community. These people are detriments to our community. And what most of us here, a lot of the folks we mentioned, what we were all about. Building up other channels, not, hey, send me Discord payments or send me super chats, and then, hey, here's my address, send me, I want Jordy Nelson cards. I did too, until somebody had like all three, like some Pac-Man guy, that Packer fan, and then Jabs in like one video. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
What up, dude?
Oh. I was waiting for somebody to just go like Team Schmedium, the home ec closed,
Human stink line.
all these clowns, and just like, these are the people that are in our no, these are the people that leech off the community. They think they're important. Again, the fucking floor of a bookstore bathroom, and they're doing more good there. I don't know. It obviously these people don't understand anything because again, with if it was notated as such, it'd be easier, but I don't think that's something that Jake will do and say this should be about community. It should be about building people up instead of taking stuff away from people and not giving back. I don't want to hear how cool his mail days are. Well, yeah, when you get everybody that's dumb because that's the first or second or third or fourth video in your algorithm when you look up sports cards. Oh, I'll be cool because I send it to him. And then you just, hey, I got this from Zootroy. Wow, really cool. Thanks. And it's like a Jordy Nelson SPA patch auto. He didn't say anything about you, just said your name. That's not building up the community. So, again, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where this goes next year because I know how many more channels, and then you can have all the crybabies say that they can have their 3-year channels, and some say, "Well, I don't care if it's a few days short. I'm going to vote for them anyway." Well, you just basically vote for your ballot.
And then there are those who at least double checked prior to submitting. So at least certain people who wanted to vote for somebody did the right thing. They posed the question, they asked the question, and if they just missed the cut, they just missed the cut. Jake was pretty firm with a lot of that because I went back through and looked through a lot of the comments on some of the questions and stuff, and I'll give Jake credit. He was firm. He was
not somebody to bend when his friends ask a question or to get his friends into the Hall of Fame like others have in the past.
Yep. He was firm across the board, and there were a few people who mentioned a few channels that were shy of the 3-year mark, and it was one of those in which, because of their popularity in the current YouTube world, will probably be one of the top vote getters next year. So it's
when you'd hope that Brad will make the jump, Carlos will make the jump. I hope Michael Shane makes the jump. He's criminally underrated. If you just want to see people that have not stayed in their lane per se, but they do what they know they do best. They're not trying to be anybody that they're not.
But even if you think about it, in all reality, just for some that you and I mentioned, that Ed mentioned, that Foxy mentioned, probably close to 100 channels. And since those that get in has been reduced to 5, and let's say it stays in existence for long periods of time to come. But even just what we talked about tonight, even if 10 people got in, that's 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years worth of freaking entrance into the Hall of Fame. 10 years. And you have all the other channels that haven't reached the 3-year mark of making videos. So it's one of the I'm like, are you going to let this go for 50 years?
Yeah. Nobody's
I mean, and then by then we're all going to be dead. So it doesn't matter. But that's the only one. That's the only change that I didn't like, because from our prime and everything else, so many good channels that are still, in my opinion, very well deserving of being in the Hall of Fame type situation. And the fact that in a matter of a 3-hour show, we mentioned 100 channels. It's 10 years worth of entrance into the Hall of Fame, potentially, not including, like I said, all those that haven't reached the 3-year mark, or those that have and have been voted on and didn't make it.
Mhm.
So who knows?
For those that haven't started to make videos yet,
I wonder who that is.
I don't know.
I wonder who that is. That guy again? Yeah. Or others for that matter. Or others for that matter, because we've talked about it before. A lot of you guys that support us, that support Carlos as well. You guys being mostly on Instagram, yes, you have YouTube channels, but I think there's a good group of individuals that are being left off for potential nominations. Because, as I even mentioned before, you guys are just as much a part of this as those of us who make videos.
Mm-hmm.
But if you make videos, you at least have opportunities to cast your ballot for those who you want to support and things along those lines too. So,
Yeah, and again, you don't have to make them every day, every other day, whatever. One a month. Fine. If you can make more, if you choose to make more, I'll find it handy too.
Dave even got a bump in votes compared to last year. So progress is progress. We'll see. That's all we can do. But with that, Dave, I think we can probably wrap it up.
So, thank you, Chris. I don't think you're watching now. If you are, thank you for coming on earlier. We'll try to figure something out where we can get you on again. You're a huge reason for why we're obviously on YouTube. So, and we value your friendship. So, definitely want to get you on again. Thank you to everybody in the comment section. Again, listening to us ramble about names you probably you don't even remember. Again, if you have any interest in any of the names, and you go back, maybe like, hey, this guy, what did he collect? What's going on here? A lot of basketball being broken. Let us know. Even ask Ed. Might go. Those two have been around a while too. So it's be like, hey, who is he talking about with this guy or with that guy? So that lady. Just if you don't know and you want to know, the only way you're going to find out is by asking. And as my friend Mo Sizlak once famously said on The Simpsons, knowledge is power. He didn't say that. My apologies. Talking to myself, don't worry. So, again, thank you guys all for commenting tonight. Like we said, we're the people on screen, but everybody's part of the family. So, much appreciated. Always helps us get through the broadcasts, get through the podcast, as it were, and makes it easier when we don't have to sit there and or dead air. So segues are something you ride on down the sidewalk, but they're also nice to have in live shows. So remember, subscribe, comment, like, hit that Philadelphia Liberty bell if you want to be notified when we go on live. Because, I mean, it's tough to remember. Not like a set time or anything. So just hit that. Remember, send us monies, duffel bags, burlap sacks, wads and rubber bands, money wads. Money wads. That's what we want. Other wads. Take care, Mike. Cashier's check. We'll even take Diners Club. So for Steve, Benny, I'm Dave. This has been the Instant Revolution podcast. Remember, collecting cards, it's a wonderful thing. The friendships you forge in this hobby because of those cards, that's what it's really about. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.